Imagine your favorite record label suing an AI tool, right? Accusing it of literally stripping songs from YouTube to train itself. That is the fight that's happening with Suno right now. Labels allege Suno stream ripped copyrighted tracks. Suno says in their defense is built on how copyright and DMCA are interpreted. Today, what we're going to do is unpack both sides, what's at stake for artists, and how this legal showdown could change the rules of AI music forever. All right. So, as we set the stage, what I was going to do is show you guys, some of the material that I pulled this from. However, the internet is not allowing me to. So I'm going to walk y'all through it, and I'll put the sources in the description as you know. All right. So in June 2024, major labels like Universal, Sony, Warner filed lawsuits against Suno and UDO. UDO is a new one. I'm going to have to dive into that one. I haven't heard of it before. Accusing them of copyright infringement, claiming they trained AI models using copyrighted records without permission. All right, that was on AP News. Fast forward to today in 2025, the labels have amended their complaint. All right, now alleging that Suno didn't just use copyrighted works, it stream ripped them from YouTube, circumventing YouTube's technical protections. All right, and that's on music business worldwide. Okay, Suno has denied the allegations. Of course, they did the first time, and pushed back on how labels interpret copyright law, especially around the DMCA's anti-circumvention rule. That's on Billboard. Okay, of course, you guys are gonna get these sources as I've said. So the label, here's the label's case in more detail. Here's what they talk about on The Verge. Okay, they argue Suno bypassed YouTube's roller cipher, okay, encryption. A kind of digital protection is what that is, to download tracks in violation of section 1201 of the DMCA, all right, which is anti-circumvention. Labels also claim Suno's alleged copies are not identical. They say it's unauthorized copying at scale used to train AI, to train the AI, okay? That's on RIAA. Then there's the class action side. Independent artists have filed suits as well as alleging Suno and UDO use their music without permission to train their AI, okay? One of those plaintiffs whose name is Tony Justice claims that the AI platform bypassed YouTube's anti-piracy measures to acquire audio files for training. Now, what I want to dive into a little bit before we move on is that if y'all haven't heard or seen any of my videos before, you have to watch the playlist, guys. I can't stress this enough. It is when Spotify was created, right? Or how Spotify was created. It was this huge piracy going on with music being stolen and played to make it easier for fans to listen, right? And something similar is happening right now. Not to that, not exactly the same, but it's very much the same when it comes down to legalities, if I'm saying that correctly, okay? So what the labels want is declarations that Suno unlawfully used copyrighted works, injunctions preventing, I'm getting tongue-tied, y'all. Injunctions preventing future use, statutory damages up to $150,000 per work under U.S. law, which that case is Manette, Phelps, and Phillips. Okay, so Suno pushes back hard. All right. First, they argue the DMCA anti-circumvention applies only to access controls, not copy controls. In other words, if content is publicly accessible on YouTube or free to stream, they claim downloading isn't it doesn't always violate that DMCA clause, right? So that's when, guys, black and white is very important when people are trying to keep what they work hard for and implement what they're creating. All right, because they technically both of these people are working hard, but when it comes down to trying to take somebody down that's trying to build something up, we got to get to the black and white, and that's what Suno is doing. All right, so second, Suno asserts many of the works they trained on were not used in a way that copies or samples that their outputs are original or new creations. All right, so basically what they're saying is that they're not copying anything. All of this is original, all of this is new. Okay, they also claim that their use constitutes fair use, which in U.S. copyright law allows limited use of copyrighted content for purposes like research, commentary, or transformation. So in court documents, Suno gets down to when they admitted its model ingested copyrighted music, but argues that is unavoidable in training, and that they filter or transform it. This is getting sticky, guys. I can see this going on for quite some time. All right. They also point to the Anthropic settlement, that's 1.5 billion, by the way, over training on literary works, I should say, suggesting labels are using that precedent as leverage. All right. So as we continue to go on down a little bit more, this lawsuit is more than just about Suno, right? It could set precedent for how all AI tools are handled with copyrighted works. So if the label wins, it might force AI companies to license huge catalogs or drastically limit their models. But this is what I was talking about, guys. We have to figure out how to come together instead of splitting it apart. And I kind of wish there was a way that, instead of this being so back and forth or so nitpicking, that they can come to some kind of conclusion on how to upbring, both sides, collide both sides in some form of fashion, right? So if Suno defense succeeds, it could allow more AI systems to legally ingest large copyrighted databases under fair use. So what we're in, both sides make a lot of sense. You get what I'm saying? Do I want to minimize my creation? No, nobody wants to minimize their creation, right? Or do I want, for the label side, do I want my music to be used for free? Like, no, so it's just like, I want to be paid for what I work for. So that's what we're going, that's what we're going against. And then even for creators, this is a shift for them as well in power. So either AI firms have to pay, or creators risk having their work used without compensation. Guys, this is on the playlist. Watch it on Netflix. I feel like I'm giving them free promo right now. All right. So this is what we're up against. We're up against new creation, AI. We're up against the labels who are technically still have high control in the system, the machine. And then we're up against creators who always get the penny on the dollar. All right. So now, no cases without flaws. Critics argue Suno's fair use defense is weak because training music to sound like existing songs doesn't always qualify as transformation. Okay? Some point to research showing AI outputs can too close to originals, right? Can be too close to originals, which suggests copying more than transformation. All right. So also, Suno has launched V4 and now V5, which are versions shortly after the lawsuits. What? These versions shortly after these lawsuits. So I'm guessing they're not out yet. Some allege they're trying to rebrand or avoid scrutiny. So I'm wondering, what versions 4 and 5 are going to be that's differently from the others, right? And in Germany, Collection Society GEMA, GEMA, has filed its own lawsuits against Suno for unlicensed use of sound recordings in Europe. This is going out of the country. I don't even know where Suno is located. I probably should know that, right? But anyways, not just here in the U.S. They got Europe suing Suno. You get what I'm saying? And honestly, when things like this happens, it just means that, in my opinion, it means that it's going in the right direction. It just needs to be modified to be able to, again, collide or collaborate. You get what I'm saying? And I think that, it would be great for labels to think of, how can we partner with these guys instead of take them down? No, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a person, a unified person. You get what I'm saying? Anyways, plus Suno has claimed that none of their user-created tracks contain direct sampling, arguing the model doesn't reuse literal copies. Right? So, what I'm watching here is number one, court rulings, how judges interpret, I need some water, guys. How judges interpret access versus copy controls under DMCA. All right. Number two, settlement or licensing deals, right? Will Suno cut deals with labels or face huge liability? Which one? Number three, industry shifts. Will models shift to only licensed data or move to open data sets? My take. So let me break it down for y'all. Labels are pushing back because AI threatens to control and profit models. All right. But AI companies' defenses are risky. Fair use arguments haven't been fully tested in music. Okay. If I had to bet, Suno may have to settle or license much of their training data. That is the middle ground right now. All right. So, quick breakdown y'all can find below in the description. Of course, I'm going to provide you guys a cheat sheet. Okay. So let me know which side, did you guys lean towards? Do you think Suno should have to license every track it used, or is their legal argument valid? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. All right. If this episode gave you clarity, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss future updates when the case evolves. And also so more people can see it and have their opinion on it as well. So what I need y'all to do is stop consuming, start questioning. And you already know I'm going to catch you guys at the next one. All right. Let's continue.